Welcome into the Morning Burrito podcast. I am Michael.
I'm Eric.
Hey, we're in our new studio.
We are.
This is cool.
It looks great.
It does.
Well, it's still coming. We're not quite done yet.
We got the nice
Soft
foam.
It's the soft touch.
Yeah, and then our sign. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and our wives weren't even involved in it.
No, but when they see what we did to the wall, they're gonna say something to us.
Yeah.
It's not quite straight, but
it's
that's
all right.
okay.
But on camera, you don't know that.
That's true.
Right. So that's the way it is.
But we have this really cool space. It's a little smaller than our last studio that we were in, which is nice actually.
Yeah, but we have more lights. We have better sound. We're in Wi-Fi range now, so we can do live shows.
That's true.
That's cool.
And so that'll be coming, I think, at some point. Today is a recorded show. We did this yesterday. Since you're watching it on Wednesday, it is Tuesday that we're recording this.
That is true.
We had to have time to actually do this.
Try to get the bugs worked out.
Yeah. But hey, we got this brand new table.
We do.
Well done,
and
sir.
It's a table that makes my mug look like normal size. It's
well,
such a big
not
table.
but not on. See, I'm looking at the video feed. It looks big because it's big.
It does. But the table's huge. We can fit like 6 people around here, no problem.
Yeah, we're actually hoping that in the future, depending on what we're going to be talking about and things, having some guests, and we may rotate how this camera angle is so that, maybe it's at that end and we can get more people around the table and do some shows like that. So
yeah, and even for those of you that come to Herb Naz, we have it set up here in the back of the worship center because we want to do some on-site interviews on some Sunday mornings as you come in. And so who knows, you might be snagged to answer a question or two.
Yeah, and if you did not watch our Sunday morning service on Sunday, this last Sunday, go back and watch it. It was a Morning Burrito Podcast Sunday. It was a lot of fun. We had live band. We had the brand new table out, and had some guests with us. And
yeah, it was actually the longest podcast ever we've done.
It was the longest service we've had since I've been here.
We got out at noon.
It was awesome.
It was like, shoot me.
And we only did 4 songs too. It wasn't even a long service that way.
But it was good though. We had a lot of good info. We had some good promo. No way we could touch on everything we do during the year, but anyway, love our church, and it was a good day.
Yeah, we accomplished a lot in actually a relatively short period of time on a Sunday.
We did.
So anyway, new digs.
But this table, this table is genius. This table was in some senior adult's yard. It was their deck, and they said, "Oh, our deck is rotted. Put a new one in." So my boys, they built them a new deck, and I said, "Bring that wood home." Excuse me. And so they did. And look at it. They're trash, our treasure, and it's awesome.
Yeah, and what you can't see on the video feed, because you can only see the top of the table here, underneath this is our baptistry tub, which is pretty neat.
Storage.
Yeah.
We're going multi-use, buddy.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And you routed the edges since Sunday, so it's nice.
Well, then you also made me cut the table down in width because it wouldn't fit through the door. It wouldn't fit through the doors.
Yeah, I couldn't get it off the stage.
So we cut about, what did we get, 6 inches off?
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
Anyway.
So, hey, so today we are going to we're going to talk about a subject that I don't know in today's culture is treated the same as it was even when
not a big deal.
we were kids. It's treated a lot less significant these days.
Is it even treated?
I don't know.
I don't think it's even treated.
Okay, so we're gonna talk about cheating, and we'll go from the very general speak to more specific, but
like taxes.
That's a good one.
Boom.
But we're going to talk about the whole idea of cheating and how do we, as a culture, handle cheating? Because I don't personally think it's the same. I think it has changed significantly over time how we view cheating.
Yeah.
So stick with us, and we will get into
Grab
cheating.
lunch. Come on back.
Yeah.
My cup in the right spot.
The cup is so big.
It is big, but I got to get it in the camera.
Did you put any coffee in it?
No, not today. I didn't.
It's just crazy.
It's too big. I don't even know where to put it on this big table. Anyway, we're back, so we're good.
So let's get into this, and I think the most fun and interesting way to start this conversation today is to talk about our own times we've cheated.
I didn't cheat.
I don't believe you.
I didn't.
You've never cheated?
Nada.
Well, now you just lied.
I did.
You've not only cheated, now you've lied.
Since we've said this topic, I have these memories that I probably, the Bible talks about these, the unknown bundle of sin. I'm like looking at my unknown bundle. It's becoming known.
I was going to say it's no longer an
It is.
unknown one.
I know. Whew.
You know what's funny? I just noticed this, and I've made fun of you since I've been here about the known thing,
Yep.
the known.
Yeah. Now you know
But-
that I'm right.
But what's funny is you don't do it when you say unknown. You said unknown.
Unknown.
No, you said unknown.
Unknown.
Without even
Unknown.
thinking about it, you said unknown.
See, now I think about it, now I'm going to mess it up.
and then
All right,
and
move
then-
on off me. Keep it going here. Man, it's not about me today.
It's still funny. Okay, so my best example is a more general example because it's just I don't know of a specific example of where this took place, but is always assumed in my family when we sit down to play Uno or anything with my parents or my brother and sister, it's always assumed that I am cheating. Like they've always assumed that I was a cheater, and I mean, maybe there was justification for that. That's my unknown bundle. I don't. There might be unrepentant sin there somewhere.
Yeah,
I
there's got to be
guess,
something in your past.
but I don't remember it, so I don't know if I can repent for something I didn't know. I don't know if I did or not.
So, like in school, for me, cheating was one of those things that you try to write all the answers down on your hand. That didn't work. You write them on your tennis shoe on the side. And
I never did that.
That worked a little bit. And then we got really unique. We put it on our pencils when we knew it was a true or false. So they passed pencils around, going, and you just followed. You had to start at the letters of number 2. You know how it says that on your pencil, and it goes T T F F T T F T, and you just kind of like, yeah, it was awesome. It was great.
You really are a master
I'm
cheater.
telling you. I mean,
Holy smokes!
I wasn't. I mean,
I was clearly not that kind of a cheater.
I know. But I mean, cheating even when you're in the back of the back of this gas station and you're looking at the magazines and you don't want to buy the magazines, so you just tear the page out, right? Put it in your pocket, But what we didn't realize is that when we were doing that, I mean, it really is, it's stealing, but that's cheating, right? But we had the mirror up over our heads, so the guy at the register was watching us do that. Busted.
Why?
I don't even know what the magazine was.
Was it an Audi magazine that you were looking at?
No, I wasn't in.
So what?
I don't know. It's probably, I don't know.
It's like for a young boy, what would be the?
Maybe it was cars because we were into cars.
Was it just the thrill of doing it?
Yeah, I'm sure it was.
All
It
right.
was probably even a dare.
I think the only kind of cheating I ever did in school, I was usually pretty good in school. Like I didn't really get bad grades or anything.
Okay,
So
here's the good part of Michael.
no. So if I ever cheated, it was usually I was cheating by helping somebody else cheat.
You just can't admit that you cheated.
I didn't need to.
Okay.
No, but I mean, I would help other people cheat. Like I'd give them the answers.
Oh, you're like a drug dealer. I don't know how to use
I was the
her.
enabler.
Yeah.
I was the enabler to the cheating. That's for sure.
The gateway to cheating.
I was the
Go
one
see
giving.
Michael.
I was usually the one giving the answers, not the one getting the answers. And usually it was willingly. I mean, I know there are examples I can think of in my head where I certainly gave answers to people. I always thought like I was helping them. I was looked at it as I was
ministry
being
driven.
No, that was not. No, I just thought I would get I'd be earning relational capital, so to speak.
yeah.
And so that middle
More with
school or high
girls?
school.
Good question there, huh?
I'm sure it happened. I don't know.
Did you ever cheat on a girlfriend?
No,
Ooh, that's a bummer.
that's a bummer.
Yeah, you don't know what it feels like.
I know what it feels like to get cheated on.
Oh, yeah, I do too.
I've been cheated on, but never cheated on anybody else.
Good
I'll
for
tell you a quick story. This is a funny story.
Oh man, here we
Hopefully this lady doesn't watch this podcast because I'm going to call her out. So I was talking to this girl. We'll call her Penelope. That's
go.
not
No,
her
you
name.
can't do that. You can't do that. We have a Penelope in church.
But it's not the same person.
Doesn't matter.
I don't know if
Bertha. We don't have a Bertha. Call her Bertha.
Large
You
Marge.
can't use-
I'll call her Large Marge.
We have a small Marge, but okay.
Okay. So we had Large Marge, okay? And my wife and I had just started dating literally like a week. Like we had gone on our first date, started dating, and then the next weekend this girl, Large Marge, who I had known online because this was back in the day of MySpace, and so she was somebody that I was pals with on MySpace.
That's dropping a date.
I barely knew this girl. Okay, Large Marge, and Large Marge, back in those days. I mean, I think it still happens this way today, but I sent out a text message, right, about something to a bunch of friends.
They had texting during MySpace days?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean,
got into MySpace,
it
I don't know.
was the old kind where you had to like hit the button 3 times to get the right letter or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, so anyway, I sent out this group text, and I forget what it was about. The point of the text message is really irrelevant, but she was so psycho that she took my girlfriend at the time, Claudia's number, my wife. She took her number, and I had ghosted her because I was like, because she had been texting me for a few days. I was like, I'm with Claudia. Like, I'm not even going to talk to. This girl's weird. Like, she's way out there for me. And so I ghosted her back in the day when ghosting wasn't really a thing. I just stopped answering her text messages and phone calls. And she gets Claudia's number and she calls my wife. It says, I'm Michael's girlfriend. And Claudia's like, oh, that's interesting. I'm his girlfriend.
Yeah, I'd say you got a little busted there.
Well, no, I didn't get I thought I was busted. I thought I was going to get in trouble. Like, I didn't even do anything, but I thought I was going to get in trouble.
Right.
Claudia calls me like, this psycho girl's calling me and da-da-da. No,
You know, they made a movie
I'm not
about
cheating. I'm not cheating. Okay, it's only week 1 anyway. Like, I'm not cheating. This girl's psychotic. I've stopped answering the calls. She is psycho. Block her phone calls.
Yeah, they made a movie about you. Hey, if you're watching, how about you send us a little comment on your ways that you cheated? Yeah.
This is group confession
Yeah,
time.
this is it right here. This is the confessional.
Okay.
Throw it out there. Share us the story.
Okay, so let's dig into this. We've had some fun at our expense, I guess. I hope you all are laughing because that story is one that Claudia loves to tell because she thinks it's hilarious. It's embarrassing to me, but cheating as a principle, as a thing that, no, I guess principle's the wrong word, is a thing that people do, and we call it sin. But how have you seen it over, let's just say from middle school till now? How has it changed in your eyes over these few years, the way people view cheating?
Man, when we cheat, we get in trouble if we get caught. I mean, you did not want to get caught cheating. I mean, we had the whole thing of you're grounded, you get no allowance, you can't take the car out, you can't make the phone, you don't get used to the phone because in those days the phone was like attached to the wall, right, with the long cord. Couldn't use the phone. Sometimes you didn't eat dinner. I missed a few dinners. I think wrongfully so, but I missed a few dinners. To now where I think
Austin, if you're listening to this, give him a phone call.
Yeah, I don't know if my dad actually watches this. He probably doesn't even know about this.
Joyce,
I should tell him. But I think in our culture today, it's really shifted away from the fear of getting caught cheating to it's really no big deal, to where we can't even define what cheating is anymore because we've bought into the little white lie scenario of life, and that's just kind of whitewashed the whole. You see what I did there? Whitewash, little white lie. Anyway,
yeah.
So yeah, I don't think there's a feeling of fear. I don't think there's a feeling of guilt. Definitely not a feeling of shame.
I go back to college and the rules on plagiarism as an example, which is a way of cheating, right? It's actually more laziness than it is even cheating. It's just lazy. But you get caught plagiarizing. At my school, it was 3 strikes, you're out. You get caught 3 times, and it could be in multiple classes. Like you could do it 3 times in one class. You could do it 3 times over the course of other classes. 3 times total, and you're done. And there's significant consequences.
See, our teachers weren't very smart because we would take the one report from, the cute cheerleader and pass it to somebody, and then we'd pass it, and then by the time you get it to your class, it's gone through 3 or 4 classes before the teachers ever catch on, and then you've already got your paper graded and returned. Hey, got away with it, kind of thing.
Well, and there was always those rumors. I don't know that I've ever, in my college days, I don't remember ever having any of these rumors proved true, but there was always the rumors that there were people that knew how to get like midterm tests and stuff, like get the actual scantrons or whatever.
Pay them,
Yeah, I'm not a cheater, so I would not have.
You don't think that way?
Well, okay, so I'm not saying I don't ever think that way, because I think we're all tempted to cheat at times. I mean, you'd be lying if you said you never tempted to cheat. But the reality was, where I went to college, my dad was an administrator at that school. So
yeah, that's not good.
Granted, he wasn't. Did it just get louder?
It did.
Hold on.
Technical difficulties.
Check.
I think we can still hear.
Check.
You're not on the computer.
That's better.
There you go.
Check. Okay.
So your dad at school, administrator?
Yeah, so he was an administrator at the college, and even though he wasn't over like educational side of the college, if I would have cheated, there's no chance my dad doesn't find out about that. So I always had that healthy fear of my father.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not going to cheat.
Yeah, see, I think the thing that we've lost in culture too is that we don't want to like look bad in front of our families. We don't want to, disappoint them. We want to put our best forth, so our families are proud of us. So I think from my own experience, all that has gone, man, it's gone way, way, way.
Well, I think there's something interesting you brought up is the shame side of it. I still feel like it's loud. I think it's interesting. I don't disagree with you that the shame has changed, but I wonder if that's because the authorities that be don't view cheating the same way.
Oh, totally.
And so there's no reason to be ashamed because nobody's holding you to account for it.
I mean, look at our culture. I mean, our adult world just doesn't. There's no accountability.
Well, I mean, so let's take relationship cheating, because we see it on TV, right? It's glorified on TV. Like, it's not that big a deal. Everybody does it, and yet even in the TV or movies, they will show the damage that cheating does. I mean, no matter what, cheating does damage. We have friends, we know people who have gone through it, either been cheated on or cheated on others.
Just watch a Hallmark movie. Sorry.
Sharon's going to roll her eyes at that comment now.
Well, it just happens.
Because you have to watch it.
Well, they always build you up in those movies like, oh, they're cheating, and they're really not. I mean, so even there is a facade of, oh, that's really bad, but it's not even it. And I think in our culture, we assume a lot of things. And, we assume that cheating's good, we assume cheating's bad, and we assume that we don't ever get caught in the consequence.
Now, I will say, as a contrarian and giving, we say this often, the devil's advocate side of this,
because that's what it is.
There is cheating in sports, right? Like there is a line that you cannot cross in specific sports. So I think like NASCAR. NASCAR has lines. Like you have to have a certain, way that the car is built and whatnot. School has the ability now to, with a computer, a AI can go in and look at
Explain the AI part.
Okay, so
because I doubt our watchers even have a clue what that is.
Artificial intelligence.
It doesn't mean ET.
No. AI, artificial intelligence. It's a computer that is capable of processing things faster than humans even can. So anyway, there's AI systems that can go in, and you submit a paper, right? You write your paper out and you submit it to them, and this program can actually go through your paper and find out if you're plagiarizing.
Yeah,
like it's quick.
Yeah, teachers use it.
It's wonderful. I mean, it's a wonderful thing, and so there is. But I wonder what the consequences have. The consequences changed? Are the consequences the same? How do they handle plagiarism? I don't really know the answer to that. How colleges and
they let you rewrite.
They let you rewrite it.
Rewrite it.
So if you intentionally plagiarize something,
well, I didn't mean to. I didn't. I thought I changed enough, because it used to be, the law used to be, if you change 20%, you're good.
Which to me is such a low bar. Like,
really?
You're not really.
Yeah.
But then again, I to be devil's advocate for a moment, when you're writing something,
you come up with a new saying, dude.
I don't know. Well, let's come up with something. We'll have to do that.
Let us know. Write it in the comment. What else can we say besides that? We give the devil too much credit.
So if you write a paper and you've listened to lectures and read books and things, it's kind of hard not to plagiarize at least a little bit.
Well, you
Let's
wanna
be
quote-
honest.
You want to quote somebody.
None of it's your own personal thoughts. You're taking what you've heard from other people and putting it together. So, I understand that.
Try to
I mean,
make it your own.
I'm sure there's cases where people didn't do it on purpose. I shouldn't have said that. I'm sure people don't plagiarize every time on purpose, but I almost said something political and I kept that one to myself.
Good.
Just check out our president with
You know,
plagiarism.
you couldn't even hold back.
I couldn't hold back. Anyway, it's funny. It's been around since the 80s, so I'm not saying anything new. But I don't think what I am worried about when we look at the AI stuff, I read a story just the other day about students now are trying to use it to have them write their papers so it cannot be plagiarized because the chat GPT, I think, is one of the companies that's doing this. They're capable, this robot, this AI or whatever, computer AI, is capable of taking a thought and like you write a sentence and say, write a paper about
Frogs in the desert.
And it'll just write you a paper and give you citations and everything.
Right, and it's not plagiarized.
And it's not plagiarized, and it's cited properly, you know, MLA or whatever the case is. I don't even know if that's what you have to do anymore, but and so now you have kids who are not actually learning how to write. They're having a computer do it for them.
Right, and you would think that the geniuses that made the program would understand that it's going to be used in that way sooner or later.
It's almost like legal cheating. You're incentivizing students who have the ability to easily get access to something like this. I'm sure it's not that difficult if you want to do it, to then, you know, spend their college days or even high school days these days, I'm sure, doing things that are not school related, that are not about education. And they'll just type in, okay, I need a paper on this, and then shoop, done. And teachers will never know that they didn't write it.
Well, the thing about that is it goes also opens the door for censorship. You know, we talked that in pre-show. Being able to have it respond. You know, you were saying using different phrases and words and or not.
What it's programmed to
what
say.
it's programmed to say and
or not say.
You can't write some things. You had a funny illustration about that. I don't know. Trump.
Oh well, there you can look it up. There's an article that was written about this. I forget who it was that wrote the article. I apologize, but I think it was the New York Times or the New York Post.
Just throw them all under the bus.
It was one of the big papers wrote the article. Anyway, they talked about ChatGPT, and one of the things that they said this program did is they asked the program to write something nice about former President Donald Trump. And it basically said I can't do that because he's racist, bigoted, so on and so forth. You know, all the catchphrases that we have in our culture these days. Forgetting about what you think of Donald Trump or not, which is kind of funny. But then the same journalist asked ChatGPT, okay, write something nice about Joe Biden, our current president. And it was this flowing poetry that it gave to the journalist. And I find that just funny that it's, again, this is getting kind of away from the cheating conversation, but it's we need to be worried that there is a program that has been created that not only is allowing students the opportunity to cheat with no real way of proving it from a teacher or administration standpoint, but it's also going to limit potentially our speech and what we can and cannot say, because the fear is with that when a kid goes to write a speech or an essay or whatever, that if they don't use the right kinds of words or phrases, that when the teacher uses their program to grade it, it's not going to grade it fairly because the unapproved language is used or whatever.
But moving away from the school topic, I mean, even our CEOs of companies, our executives, going to their board meetings, having this thing write their own speeches, their own presentations, with coming up with its own data and without researching if the data is true.
Yeah, because you don't know where that research has come from.
Yeah, or using it to cheat and go like, okay, I don't want it to say this. I want my data to say this. And I mean, it covers all ages.
Cherry picking data
Yeah.
from one place instead of another, those sorts of things.
Yeah, I just think cheating though is one of those things where we just look at it almost. I mean, let's look at the church, because the whole thing with the podcast is where does culture and church come, to an intersection, and what takes place. I think even in the church, we have this moral and ethical, ideology about us that says cheating's bad. But we've written it off in our own language now to where we respond to when we hear somebody cheat to say, well, man, that culture, they just cheat. Yeah, they cheated. And we don't say, well, let's go talk to them about that. Let's help them through that. Let's find out why. I mean, there's always more to a story than what we know. We learned that this morning in one of our counseling sessions. There's always more to a story than what is at face value. And maybe it really wasn't cheating, but we write it off as cheating. And so even I think as a church culture, we have lost a little bit of sense of what really is cheating. What is it? And then we're afraid to really, I don't know if we're afraid to call it out, but we don't take the opportunity to hold people accountable for it. I know as a pastor, I hold people, I try to hold people accountable because I want them to hold me accountable. If I'm cheating on something, say something. But man, you all get a little, dander up there when, somebody comes in your space and it just questions, because nobody likes their integrity questioned, right? So I think integrity is one of those things with cheating that is just, it's huge, but yet cheating doesn't mean anything, but yet integrity means everything when it comes to accountability, because nobody likes their integrity questioned. So we got to get back to that.
Well, granted, the Ten Commandments, it doesn't specifically say do not cheat, and that's not in the Ten Commandments, but it does say you must not commit adultery, which is cheating in the relationship context. And if it's not okay to cheat in that context, then it's fair to assume it's not. I mean, there are other places in the Bible. I just didn't have time to look it up. But it's fair to assume that God would say, okay, it's not okay to cheat in this context. It's also not okay to cheat in this context either. Because what is cheating at its base value? It's lying. And it's a combination of lying and stealing.
Well,
that's what cheating is. It's lying and stealing.
Selfishness, self-motivation. It's all about you, I. I mean, everything that you're not supposed to be about.
I mean, I suppose you could cheat to help someone else. Again,
well, that's true.
I mean, I think I cheated when I allowed somebody else to use my answers. Was I the one that actually was benefiting necessarily from that directly? No. But I was doing that to help somebody else. But just because I'm helping somebody else do something wrong, which makes me just as wrong.
Well, you might be cheating to help somebody do something good too. It doesn't make it right.
Example?
I don't know if I have one.
Oh,
it just sounded good. Well, I mean, because
okay. So you are nobody's supposed to speed, right? It's cheating to speed. That by definition, speeding is cheating.
It's fun.
Okay, so let's say you are going. I'm just trying to figure out an example here for you. You are trying to get somewhere to help somebody with something. Let's say it's not an emergency. Let's say you're going to hang something on the wall, like we did with fishing line with this sign.
Yeah.
Okay, and you cheat by going fast to make sure that you can get it done in their time frame because they need it done by X. So you're cheating by speeding, getting there faster. Maybe that's a really outside example. Maybe that doesn't work in your brain. But again, it is possible to cheat and help somebody else. That doesn't make the cheating right.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean you're
using
in the right.
Or using, how about this one? You live in one school district and you want to, have your kid go to another school district, but you can't because they don't, allow that. So you apply for a variance. But in order for the variance to, be working, you have to have a address in that school system. Right,
you're gonna ruffle some feathers with this one.
This is legit, and there's people in churches that do this all the time. It's like, hey, you know what? Can I use your address? Can I use your PO box because I want my kid to go to that school? Okay, it's for a good cause, right? But that's definitely cheating, which definitely is wrong. And I mean, what are you sending your kids the message of? So, I I mean, that's
The
helping.
at the very least bending the rules.
Totally. Or even with Medicare. You know what? Somebody doesn't have, they don't use Medicare, either plan A, B, D, whatever the alphabet is. But yet you make the application for somebody who isn't eligible to meet that because of pre-existings or whatever. So you fill in your information for it. That's legit. That happens in the church. So we don't call that cheating. It's like, man, these people are going to be, they're going to lose everything because of the, the medical stuff.
Taxes.
Taxes is big. Hey, you know what? It's a deduction.
Okay, so I don't. You tell me, is this cheating? So there's always the debate in the church. We just did a couple weeks ago a message about giving and tithing, and the 10% question. And there will always be people that say, I did not tithe on my refund.
Sure.
When should you not tithe on your refund?
So, I mean, the Bible doesn't.
Is it cheating the church?
It doesn't even say that. So you're way out of context on that. I think that's where people are. They're out of context by looking at the number. Jesus, I thought we covered it pretty clear on the Sunday a couple weeks ago. Is He wants your heart, and when your heart's obedient, you pray, you listen, you act. And if God's saying for you, hey, you sold a house, you got profit, you pay. If you want to go gross or net, you pay. But you got to be praying about that. The whole thing of tithe in the Old Testament, it comes from the word. What's the word? Tenth. And thanks. And it's one of those things where, okay, that's good. But Jesus, when he talks about it in the New Testament, he never puts a dollar figure to it.
But I guess the question would be more specifically is like, okay, wouldn't it be considered cheating to say I didn't pay on my gross when I was paying on the net the whole time, right? So whatever the net is for you, okay? So you're not paying on what you're gross making. Mm-hmm. You're paying on whatever the government has already taken out.
Yeah, so I mean, without belaboring the thing on tithing and money, I mean, it is your heart issue, and that's where I want to end it. I mean, because that really is, when I'm looking at that, it's what have you prayed about? What have you listened to? And what has God told you? Because there's people all over the board that, even the widow in Scripture, she gave 2 mites. Well, that was probably more than her 10th, right?
Sure.
She gave everything she had, but it was a heart issue.
Right.
And I mean, we work with people all the time that want to start tithing, but they can't start at a 10th. I mean, how do you find a 10th? Just, okay, I wake up one morning and, hey, I gotta cut everything out.
Some people who are living, paycheck to paycheck. And
yeah, well, you get a paycheck to paycheck and still pay a 10th. I mean, you really can. But you have to operate your tithe from a place of love and generosity, not from obligation. And I think the church for way too long has put people underneath the guilt of obligation with that, and it's like, well, you're cheating the Lord out of it. Well, the Lord also owns the other 90%. So what do you do with your time, talent, and resources, and how do you steward that? I mean, so that's a whole big thing. But I do think it is a place where culture looks and goes, I mean, they have their own opinion on people giving money to the church.
You know what's interesting? As we're getting down to the end here, but I know. Is that you?
Gotcha.
Oh, okay. It's interesting to me that I'm sure there's people listening or watching us right now. They're like, oh man, here they go, the pastors talking about tithe again. Pastor Michael bringing that up. But here's the thing. I find it very interesting that in our culture today, we always hear things like the rich need to pay their fair share, or, I pay too much in taxes. And so if I can skate by and, find a break here and there, I'm going to do that. Those are the sorts of things you hear in the culture, right? A lot. I mean, people will say, if they're a business owner, I'm going to take as many shortcuts on my taxes as I can because the government takes too much to begin with, right? And then we have people on the other side who say, well, it's not fair that, some get tax breaks and we don't, and da-da-da-da-da. I think ultimately what you said is the most important thing in all forms of cheating, whether it's your taxes, whether it's in school, whether it's on your spouse or your significant other. pick the thing. I mean, cheating in a sport or whatever the case is, if you are cutting corners like that, you need to ask yourself, is my heart right? Because it is, as you said, a heart issue. Cheating is a heart issue, and it's something, if you're not feeling convicted about it, chances are that you're trying to avoid the Holy Spirit from being convicted.
Yeah, because the Word talks about living above reproach. And as Christians, we're called to live above reproach. And reproach is living with integrity, living about, okay, people can ask you any question they want about your time, talent, uses, or whatever. And you're living for the Lord. And if you're living for the Lord, it doesn't really matter what they ask you because you have nothing to hide. I mean, that's the old way the New Testament church started and operated, and we have messed that way, way up. So Titus, New Testament book, Titus chapter 1, says this, for an overseer, as God's steward, you must be above reproach. Must not be arrogant, quick-tempered, drunk, violent, greedy, and on and on and on. There's a list. But the whole idea is being above reproach. It starts with the heart, right? The rest of that falls into, man, I love the Lord so much. I don't need to be, angry. I don't need to be drunk. I don't need to be violent. I don't need to be greedy. I'm not self-centered. I mean, it's amazing how God just kind of takes care of all of that list. With the heart is above reproach. And then 1 Timothy is the last one I want to end with. It's therefore, it just backs up Titus. Therefore, an overseer must be above reproach. Again, the husband of one wife, sober-minded, self-controlled, respectable, hospitable, and able to teach. And that's a list. If we just live just try living one of those today, and just see what you do. But I don't know, cheating, man, there's consequences to it. And someday, I mean, maybe you'll be in a consequence for something that you've done, and you wonder, hey, well, how'd that happen? How'd I get here? Well, maybe you cheated. I don't know.
Part of living above reproach is having integrity, being a person of integrity. And so if you are struggling with cheating in some form or fashion, can I just encourage you, number one, stop. It is within your power to stop. You can. The Holy Spirit works within us to help us to rid ourselves of sin. So it is possible to get past it. But you need to come clean. You need to ask for help and get your brothers and sisters around you to help you with that in Christ. And then your life will be better if you're not cheating.
I mean, one thing I learned about cheating is I learned a few things, but one, sometimes cheating is fun. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's fun to see how far you can go before you get busted. I mean, that's, at least in my growing up days, that was kind of like one of the goals to Friday night. But there's always a consequence to the cheating, and I mean, it's sooner or later it catches up to you. I mean,
sure.
That's biblical too if we had time to get into all that. But
Yep.
Anyway, stop cheating. Give us a note and let us know your cheating stories. Let us know what you think of the nice soft touch to the podcast. Not bad for two guys that did it. So
Who can't square corners?
whatever. That was a jab at me, I know.
No, you did a great job on this,
You actually
dude.
put it up there crooked. So
I did put it up there.
It's crooked.
And I said that was my worry, is that I wasn't going to get it at the right angle. So
yeah, live above reproach, buddy. Oh,
I admitted it.
I know.
Hey, we appreciate you folks, and we will be back again next week at 12 o'clock on Wednesday. And who knows, might be live next week.
Maybe.
It's always possible.
Okay.
And we do have something coming potentially soon in the way of like a podcast series. We're working on some things that it'll be a series of podcasts that are kind of big picture. So it'll be kind of fun. So we're working on it. Don't know when yet, but sometime soon.
And maybe with a burrito to go.
I hope so, man. We need burritos back. All right, folks. We will see you next week on the Morning Burrito Podcast.